Listen-only mode.
Good evening out there, everyone. Good Sunday evening to you. This is Scott Jones, Chief Operating Officer of Invita Financial Network. It is a pleasure for me to get to spend this portion of your Sunday evening with you. I want to thank all of you for taking the time out of your busy schedule and your weekend schedule at that to spend some time with us tonight. It'll be myself and Chris Neeck from Americo, and I'm going to introduce Chris to you in a minute. He's no stranger to us at Invita. We appreciate the time that he takes out of his weekend on Sunday evenings to help us train and to train you on products. But I do want to let you know, all you guys there in the Texas market that are struggling through these floods again, that our thoughts and prayers are with you, and we hope that you and your family and everyone is safe, and we understand that it's causing some hardships on several of you out there, and we just want you to know that Invita cares, and we're hoping and praying for the best for you there. So with that said, I'm going to bring Chris Neeck on the phone with us. Chris is account representative with Americo. Chris started with Americo a little over 6 years ago. And guys, Chris is he's a guy that's come up through the ranks. Chris started as a phone representative for Americo and then worked his way to a team representative, then out in the field, all the way up to an account executive. And Chris is in Kansas City, Missouri, and he is a big Kansas City Royals fan. And I know, Chris, you guys had a lot to celebrate last year with that wonderful World Series win. So that made you and the city happy, I'm sure.
Yeah, unbelievably happy.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And Chris, once again, we're delighted to have you on the call with us tonight. We appreciate you taking the time out to do it, to help us become more familiar with the products and the service that you have at Americo. And I couldn't think of a finer person to do it, a guy who started where you did and worked your way up through the company. I'm sure you had opportunity to learn the company from the lowest level to your executive position now.
Absolutely. You know, I started actually in sales support. So basically I took 100 calls a day just answering product questions, teaching people about the website. So I know the back side of this company, front side of this company, and so yeah, absolutely. I've seen it all.
Well, you definitely got on the job training, and I know you're going to put that training to use for us tonight as you bring some updates you guys got and a lot more product knowledge to us. So with that said, Chris, once again, thank you, and I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you so much. So, yeah, I'm Chris Neeck, account executive with Americo, and it's a blessing to be here with you guys tonight. And I'm going to tell you guys about our simplified issue term. I know a lot of you guys have looked at it, seen it. We've had some major changes recently, though, and so if you've taken a look before and maybe you thought there were some things we could do better, hopefully we answer some of those questions tonight. And if you haven't taken a look at it, I think you're going to be pretty impressed by what we have. But who is Americo? So, you know, we've partnered with Invita for a long time, pretty much since the beginning of when they started. You know, Americo is a privately owned, A-rated company. You know, there's value in it to a lot of clients out there. Working with someone who's located in the heart of America. We're located in Kansas City, Missouri, downtown Kansas City, Missouri. We're a multi-generational, privately owned company. It's a family-owned business, which you just don't see in a company our size, especially one that's A-rated. I think that we're the largest independently held insurance companies in the United States. There may be a bigger one that I don't know of. We're very focused in our markets, and we're very picky about who we do business with, honestly. So we have a set number of IMOs that we'll do business with, and you know, Invita, the quality of people that are there, the way that they do business, the way that they recruit, the way that they sell, and the way that they train their agents is someone who we've decided to partner with. And that's why I'm here. That's why I'm excited to tell you about what we have. And trust me, not everyone out there in the market has what I'm about to show you. And our service package is really, I think it's second to none. If you give us a call, you talk to our folks, our support staff, our sales support, which I'm real proud of, kind of built that. And we got our customer service, even though if you're going to leave your customers in the hands of a company, America is a company that you can trust. You know, again, we're an A-rated company, just recently affirmed with AM Best, and so we're really proud of that. That's not easy to get, and it's something that we've worked really hard to get to. So again, we're financially strong. We have very good commissions. You know, talk to your upline, figure out exactly where we fall in terms of. And we have some very competitive product features. So some of the things that our products do are things that no one else does out there, and I'm going to show you some of that. I mentioned that we have private ownership, but we also have a long-range view of business, and this kind of goes hand in hand with being privately owned. Being a multi-generational company, we're not trying to just make a quick buck tomorrow. We're not making short-term decisions. We're making decisions, and we're investing in technology. Guys, it costs millions of dollars to build a platform that's really going to be next generation. And it takes someone with a long-range view of business to do that. We're not just trying to get the next gimmick out there. We're truly trying to build a platform that not only you can know, but that you can trust that will be there tomorrow. We're less than 400 people, so you're going to get to know us. You give us a call, you're going to have your favorite phone reps, and they're all going to be great, but there's going to be some that just blow you away. So the markets that we're in final expense, general life. I'm going to focus tonight on our mortgage term and our senior, which means annuity slash, basically our annuities. We do a little bit of med-sup stuff too. So sales support, again, you give us a call. Our sales support area, they're all licensed agents, and so they know what they're talking about. Most of them have sales experience. And so you give us a call and you say, hey, sales support, I've got a guy who's this age, has this thing, and he's looking for this. And you know what? I don't know if you guys have anything, but tell me if you do. And our sales support, that's what they're best at. So challenge us, call us, help us find a product that will help you serve a client. But really what I want to tell you about tonight is our HMS Plus e-application. Now that plus is a new word that we've added. It used to be just HMS. Plus is the additions, the thing that we've really enhanced this product with, and that's what I want to show off to you tonight. So you may know this, and you may know other simplified issue terms. So let me tell you, kind of just give you a teaser before I get into it and kind of show you what this thing is. There's no need to call for the decision. There's no need to check the internet for the decision most of the time. So there's about 80% of the time you're going to get a thumbs up or thumbs down, most of the time thumbs up in the home, right at the point of sale. And honestly, guys, there's not really a whole lot of mortgage companies out there. I don't know of anyone who has a process exactly like this. There may be someone who has some sort of quick decision or whatnot, but to be able to sit there with a tablet in a home, be able to have a policy number, to be able to give the client the policy number, tell them that they're covered and there's nothing else that they have to worry about, is really different. You see that on the final expense to some degree, and I still think that we have the best process on final expense. But when it comes to the mortgage market, this really is kind of a revolutionary idea. It can be used 24/7. There's less paperwork. You guys hate amendments. We don't get paid to do amendments. We get paid to write business. Amendments just is something that we have to do after the fact. We're going to mail this policy out usually within one business day. If it's before 3 p.m. Central, it's usually going to go out that day. And we pay commissions daily depending on how you're set up. So, I'm going to tell you about the product in general, but these are not just the things that have changed from what our product used to be, but these are some of the things that maybe are different from some of the other products that are out in the market. So we added knockout questions. Okay, I'll be honest with you. So one of the most frustrating things with our former application was we'd have questions that would ask, like, if you had cancer in the last 5 years, and you could answer no. And then we would turn down an app because they had cancer 7 years ago. It was a forever question, and we weren't clear about it. Our attorneys thought that we weren't allowed to ask forever questions. We fought them, and we figured it out. We looked at other companies. We saw what was going on in the market, and we realized knockout questions make sense. There's not a quicker way to make an agent mad than to ask a question with a certain time frame and then be looking outside of that. And so we fixed that. So now we have built-in knockout questions. And so this is really going to give you an opportunity to get to know our underwriting, especially the big questions, the big ones. And so that saves you tons of valuable time. We have drill-down questions built into the application. So you're going to be able to field underwrite this much more accurately. The other most frustrating thing that I heard from agents is, I got out there and they had nervous disorders. I brought my blood pressure questionnaire. I brought my diabetes questionnaire, but I didn't have the nervous disorder questionnaire, and so I had to go back, or I had to fax it to them, or I had to have you guys call them. Well, now the application, I'm talking about the paper application and the e-application. We do have both. On the paper application, all the questionnaires are built right into the application. And on the e-application, all the questionnaires are built right into the application as well. And not only do we build the questionnaires right into the application, but we're only asking the questions that we actually care about. So before we had kind of generic questionnaires that we used on all our fully underwritten business, and I had a ton of questions on there. And some of them they weren't looking at for a simplified issue product like this. A lot of times it's just a few questions. And so, we made that better. That was a problem, and we fixed it. So let's talk a little bit about the product itself. So there's a lot of different versions, a lot of different looks at this, and honestly I could probably do a training on a couple different segments of this, but let me give you a high-level overview. So we have the 125. This has 25% accidental death automatically included, and I'll show you what that looks like on the next slide. We have our CBO, which stands for cash back option, which is technically a universal life policy. The way that we were able to get so aggressive on our pricing on the cash back is by putting it on a universal life chassis. And then we have the 100, which is a little less expensive. And then we have the 100 CBO, which is also a little less expensive. There's no accidental death involved in that. The commission is a little bit lower on that. And then we have our income term. Our income term is an income stream product that instead of giving a level lump sum death benefit, we give an income stream. This works really well for someone who's, say, 65. They need more coverage than they can afford on a level term. It's essentially a decreasing term, and we're able to basically give them twice the coverage for the same price, or give them the same coverage for half the price, and it's at the higher commission tier. Income term is something that I could do a whole training on, and hopefully I'll get a chance to in the future, but it's something that you should definitely take a look at. In terms of our cash back option, or hold on, in terms of the issue ages, so one of the things that sets us apart also with this is we have issue ages that go all the way up to 75. You know, you get up to over 70, and you're going to have, you know, definitely some price things, but you're going to have simplified issue. Can you write someone up to 400,000 who's 75? Absolutely. But that's great for someone who maybe needs a little bit more than a final expense policy can offer, but you can still write them a 15-year term at 75. But 60, 65, 70, we have all these different terms available. It's important to know that the cash back option is a little bit more limited. So if you look here, we go to 60, 65 on the cash back option. So with the 125, what separates this is it's going to have 25% accidental death automatically included in it. So if you die of an accident and you have a base policy of 100,000, it would pay 125. And if you die in a common carrier, or in other words, you're a fare-paying passenger on regularly scheduled transportation, like an airplane, like you get on Southwest or you take the bus to work, it's going to pay an additional 25%. So that'd be up to 50% additional if you were to die in that fashion. You know, honestly, guys, when you're looking at us, I'm just going to shoot you straight. So when you're looking at us, you're comparing us to the competition. I think that where we stand out, I'll just be blunt with you, the thing that I think that we do the best and that where we're the most aggressively priced is going to be with our cashback option. I think we do it better than anybody. I think all the products are great, very competitive, and I think when you look at our whole package, there's no reason not to sell any of them. But our cashback option is something that we're extremely good at. And so with the cashback, basically at the end of the no-lapse guarantee period, and again, this is based on a UL chassis, and so the language is going to be a little bit different. You'll see here on this slide, it says no-lapse guarantee period. Well, usually that would say at the end of the term period, right? But we built this on a UL chassis to make it as efficient and inexpensive as possible. And so in the policy pages, it's going to show this, and the language is going to show this. It's really, I want to warn you though, definitely sell it as a cashback term. Don't sell it as a traditional UL. You have better options. We have better options than this for that. But that is how the language is, not to confuse you. So basically, they surrender the policy at the end of 30 days, and they're going to get all of their money back, all of their base premiums back. That doesn't include any riders or anything like that, but it includes all of their base premiums, and it's a very, very powerful sales concept. So, you know, one of the ways that I know some of our most successful agents sell this is they'll take someone's mortgage, they'll sit down with them, say they've got a 30-year mortgage that they just took out, and so they'll do a 20-year cashback option term. What they'll do is they'll marry up that cashback number with what their mortgage balance is going to be 20 years from now. And what they say is, hey, you know, the idea of a term is you're probably going to live through this. That's why it's a term. And so what are we going to do with this money at the end? Let's make a plan here. Now all of a sudden you're not talking about death. You're talking about life. And you're talking about paying off someone's home. And you're talking to someone who may have just taken out a mortgage. These are all real anxieties for them. They may be more worried about their mortgage than they are about dying. And so to tell them 20 years from now, we're going to write you a check that's going to pay off the next 10 years of your mortgage, how great is that? You can do calculations on how much interest that saves them. It's really a game changer and a life changer, and as aggressively as we've priced this, it's very, very attractive with Americo. So whenever you're quoting something for someone and they're in this age bracket, always look at the cashback options. They're a little cheaper the higher term length that you go, which is counterintuitive to a normal term. So the 30 is going to be the cheapest, and then you move down. The 15 is not quite as inexpensive. The 20, the 25, the 30, those are going to be great cashback options. You know, sometimes I've seen on a 30-year, it's almost the exact same price as the level term on the 30-year. I mean, we're really good with the cashback. So if you're looking for a competitive edge with Americo, definitely look at the cashback. So here's one example. So we have a male, age 35, non-smoker, $100,000 face amount on a 30-year. $56, $67 a month, and at the end of 30 years, they've got $20,000 in cash, a little over $20,000 in cash value. Well, you could marry that up, or you could raise that, lower that. Maybe it's $100 a month that gets them to pay off their mortgage. Whatever it is, this is a very powerful tool, and it really flips the conversation from life insurance, which is there, and they're covering their family for all those years, but there's talk about how you're going to use this money, and the fact that, what's that anxiety of paying for a term insurance when the idea of term insurance is that you're probably going to live through it? Well, to get all your money back really alleviates a lot of those concerns. In addition to that, we have a ton of different riders available. So you can ride a whole family on this. You've got your additional insured, you've got your children's term rider, you've got your critical illness. One of the very popular ones is involuntary unemployment waiver. So if they get laid off from their job, we'll cover their term for 6 months. And waiver of premium if they get disabled, which is a very powerful, very popular rider as well. So next I'm going to show you the other thing that really sets us apart in what we do. And this is going to be the e-app. This is something that just launched, it was literally weeks ago. It was the beginning of May. And so this is Sales Connection. This is the name of the platform that we do it on. Basically, with Sales Connection, it's a web-based application, so you're not going to go to the App Store, the Apple App Store, and download an app or anything like that. It's all done on the internet, and we do that so that we can give you real-time decisions. So you do have to be on the internet, and I'm encouraging you, if you guys don't have a tablet or some sort of touchscreen device that's on the internet, it's worth it. I was just spending some time with a buddy just earlier this weekend, and he was just bragging to me that he went to AT&T, and for $100 they gave him a tablet. He couldn't believe it. He said, Chris, you got to run down to AT&T. I said, well, I don't have AT&T right now. I said, they will give you a tablet for $100. I said, is it on the internet? He said, well, of course, I got it from AT&T. So, guys, and I said, how much extra is it a month? And he said, I didn't even notice. I think that we pay enough that they just basically included it. When I checked into it for myself, it was about $10 a month. It's so powerful to have a device that's on the internet. We're not the only ones doing this, guys. It's investing in your future. Fax machines are going the way of the dodo. They're done. They're gone. We'll take all your fax applications. Trust me, our fax machine's still on. But I'm saying this is a good time to be investing in technology for tomorrow. So if you're already registered with us, if you already have an agent number, go to Americo.com and just get logged in, register yourself, and you'll have access to all the tools that I'm going to show you here. So this is basically what the website looks like. And once you're logged in, you'll go to the Sales Connection button right up here on the right-hand side. There's also a version down here that you can click to go to. And that'll take you into the quoting platform. One of the concerns we got from agents a long time ago is, hey, Chris, I don't want to go try some new e-app. I'm used to fax. I'm used to paper. I know how this thing works. I'm not going to try this in front of a client. And so what we did is we created a demo site. So you can go kick the tires on this thing before you ever have to go into a client's home. And so if you have a pen and paper, if you're going to write something down, just because the link it's on there, but it's a little harder to find. It's easier just to punch it in once you're registered. Go to SC Demo, no dots in there. So SC Demo stands for Sales Connection Demo. .americo.com. And when you go into our demo site, you can't break anything. It'll say demo site in the corner, and then you can go through an app. It's going to feel, look, it's going to taste just like our regular e-app, but it's going to be in a demo environment, so you can try it. You can see what it looks like. You can maybe practice it with a friend. You guys go back and forth, kind of role-playing a little bit. And I tell you, go through it a couple times. I tell you this for two reasons. One, because I want you to get comfortable with it. And two, because once you see this, once you put your hands on it, you're going to want to use it. So this is what the system looks like. You'll hit New e-app, and you can do our final expense through the same platform. And you'll hit Sign Authorization. And so Sign Authorization, so let me point out a couple things here on the screen. So over on the left-hand side here, you'll see that there's some green check marks. We're not going to let you go to that next screen. We're not going to let you fill out other information or try to push forward until we have all the information that we need already. This is so powerful, and you don't really think about it until you've been on the other side of this. When you've been on the other side of this and you realize that you don't have amendments, when you've been on the other side of this and you have very little pending business because of how many instant decisions that you have, when you realize that you're not having to call a client on the phone to get a height and weight because you missed it on the app, these are little things that really do make your life easier, and they're going to get you back out in the field doing what you do best. And what you do best is getting in front of new clients, meeting new people, creating new relationships, and making new sales. And so there's two different ways that you can sign this. So, the tablet signing is kind of what I'm going to show you, where basically they go in with an iPad, or you go in with an iPad, and there's a little signature box, and you sign in there, and it's all done right through the system, through the computer or whatnot. And it's great. This is for face-to-face sales. We also have email signing, though. So, this kind of opens up a whole other door for you. So, say, for example, you're in Florida, and you're down in Miami, and you have a client that moved to Jacksonville. Well, it may not be in your interest to drive all the way to Jacksonville, and you really wish that you could help them. And they say they want to add an extra $50,000 term, or they want to do another $100,000, or maybe they've taken some other product and they need some additional coverage. Well, you can email them the signature box. You're able to do this over the phone. You don't have to record anything like that. And they're able to sign through their email. They're able to get the same instant decision just doing email signatures. And so now you're able to use this remotely. If you have your non-res license in another state, you can sell anywhere in the country with this product and with this platform. Guys, think about some of the old leads that you have. Think about some of the old clients that you have. These might not be people that you're going to go and drive around and see because you've already seen them. There's coverage there. But it might be worth a Friday afternoon and 50 phone calls to say, hey, I just wanted to follow up on your policy. I see that it's doing well. I wanted to see if you had any additional coverage needs. Because if you did, I have an opportunity where there's a new product. There's this great new company, Americo, that we're working with that we'd be able to get you covered right here over the phone as convenient as can be because we have a great relationship. We're able to do this. Guys, there's tools here that we're putting together. And this is based on feedback that we've gotten from you, and we're listening. We want it to be as easy as possible to work with Americo. And that's why we created this system. Not only the e-app that you use in person on a touchscreen device, but also the email signature that you can use remotely. So this is what the email signature looks like, or not the email, this is what the tablet signature looks like. And essentially the client just signs right here, and it's a nice big signature box. It's as easy as can be. Honestly, people who are younger, they like using technology. People who are older, they like the big signature box. They like not having to sign in a tiny little box. They can use their finger, they can use the stylus, and the tablet's going to capture it, and everything's going to be done right then and there. And they're not just signing into the air. They're going to actually see the document that they're signing. So you'll see here, this is the actual document that they're signing, and they'll see that their signature's on there, and then they'll hit finish. So up till now, we don't actually have an application in the system. So now we've just kind of laid some groundwork. But as soon as we hit Initiate Underwrite, this is kind of where the special sauce is with Americo. When you hit Initiate Underwrite, not only are we going to go to the next screen, but we're going to, right then, it's going to kick off our MIB and our script check. So the Medical Information Bureau and the prescription check are going to be done during this application. So as soon as you hit that button, our computers on the back end are going to work, and we're putting this application together for you. We're figuring out whether there's anything there that's going to be a kick out for this person. Guys, this saves you time, and it's a great experience for the client. They don't want to have to wait a whole long time to get an answer. And so we're going to underwrite this thing right on the spot about 80% of the time. 20% of the time, we are going to ask that the application comes into the office for underwriting. If there's riders on it, that would be one reason. Sometimes what will happen is maybe they'll say no to all the health questions, but something popped up on the background or on the script check. It's not a big deal, but we just need to clarify. Or maybe nothing showed up on the script check, but they answered yes to one of the health questions. And we just want to make sure that all that information is matching. But other than that, it's going to be instant decision all the time. And this is what it's going to show you. So you see up here in the right-hand corner, based on the initial underwriting check, the proposed insured may qualify for coverage, which basically means that they've cleared script check. So we've still got to get through the health questions and all of that, but this means that they've cleared script check, and you're pretty much good to go for the most part with this product. And again, I mentioned the knockout questions, so you're going to have knockout questions right here in the app. If you answer yes to one of these, it's just going to stop you. But you've probably asked them about most of these going into this. But one of the coolest things I think about this is not necessarily knockout questions, which I think are really helpful, and that was just playing catch up. That's not next level. But having the health question, the drill down health questions built into the app, I think is really, really cool. It makes your life easier. Thinking about when you first got into this market, think about all the questionnaires you had to carry around, or maybe still do, or even more, think about training a new agent that maybe you're trying to bring up and you're trying to build. Well, having to explain all those things to someone can be very intimidating, and we take a lot of that out of this by having the drill down questions built right into the app. So if you answer no to a question, you just go to the next question. But if you answer yes, we're going to put all the information that we need right into the app. And so you'll see here, we're asking about diabetes, which is a common one. We're going to ask about the original diagnosis date. We're going to hear about, we're going to ask about whether or not it's the primary physician versus a specialist, and that makes a difference. And you're not going to get away with anything if you answer that wrong, because that does show up on script check. And honestly, those are the sort of things that we match up. So just try to make this as true to the script check as possible, and you're going to maximize your chances for this thing going through on the first run. The other cool thing about this is we're not only going to ask, what drug are you taking, and then have you just type it in. We actually give you a drop down with basically all the diabetes medications that are out there that we know of. It's going to have another drop down with all the dosages that we know of that are common, at least. And that way we're able to actually use that logic with the computer, and they're able to make decisions based on specific information you're giving us. So just by answering yes to this doesn't mean it's coming to the home office. Just by answering yes to this, you're able to see all the information that we need and give it to us so that we can get an instant decision as often as possible. And so honestly, most of the time, we have a very high approval rate on this. You're going to see congratulations, underwriting review of this application for life insurance has been completed, has been approved for coverage. This is good stuff, guys. Look down here. You've got a policy number. When you get this message, you can say, Miss Jones, I know that you were concerned. I know that because of your diabetes, I know you've had friends that didn't get qualified, but here's your policy number, and I want to let you know right now that you're covered, even though your draft date is not till the 1st of next month, because you told me that's when you're going to be able to afford that first premium, and that's when you want them to come out in the future. Because of the way that Americo works, your coverage is actually in place as of right now. And if you were to call Americo and you were to reference this policy number, they would tell you about the coverage that you just invested in for your family. How cool is that? Guys, clients love that. Business sticks because of that. It's very powerful, and like I mentioned earlier, we're going to drop that policy in the mail within a day, and so they're going to have the paperwork in their hands within a day that solidifies that sale. Guys, there's so much value in this. You guys got to really think about, when you're looking at different carriers, what do we have, what do we offer? Sometimes it's more than a couple bucks here and there. When it comes to the client, they want a great experience, they want coverage, and they want to work with a company that's going to be there tomorrow. And these are things that Americo offers. And we're willing to invest in things like this process, this system. And guys, the first time that you're sitting in a client's home or you're over the phone and you have this, come up and it tells them that they're qualified and that they already have a policy in place, you're gonna keep coming back to this. This is very powerful. You're gonna find the value in this because it's gonna end up, you're gonna end up helping more families because of this. And honestly, there's power to a quick no. So what's the alternative to this? So I love yeses, right? We love to get them covered. But isn't it great also to have us say no really quick? So if something shows up on the script check that's just not going to be Americo friendly, isn't it good to know that right then and there? How hard is it to get into a client's home? With the mortgage market, you may be meeting someone after work. They're busy enough. They're squeezing you in, and you're just glad to be there. You turn them down once with a company. To get back in that door is going to be tough. Well, to be able to pull out a different piece of paper, maybe you've got a more liberal company in your back pocket, or maybe a whole different direction to go with somebody. Well, you're able to pivot right there at the kitchen table. You're not having to convince them to come back. There's power in a quick yes, of course. We want to get them covered. But there's power in a quick no as well, and I think this is unique in the mortgage market to have those options. So you're going to have an option to save this, so it's not just this digital thing. You're going to be able to actually download and save a PDF of this so you can have a copy of the application. Guys, if you're doing your job out there in the market, you've got to save your applications. Keep your clients' information. Keep track on these guys. These are your clients. Own them, service them, be there for them, and keep their information in these beautiful look. I mean, look at this. This is better than your handwriting, I promise. And so you can read all of the information, and you'll have it there digitally forever for you to work with. Okay, so that's kind of my pitch on our HMS Plus with eApp. And so just to kind of summarize real quick, guys, some of the changes that we've made, we already had a really great simplified issue term. Our cashback option, I think, is second to none in the market. And where we enhanced it is we added those knockout questions. We really, basically, the overall idea here is we added transparency to our underwriting. A lot of people haven't told me, I really wish that you could be better with these people and accept these people. They said, Chris, I just want to know who you'll accept, right? We just want to know who to send you because we want to do business with you. And so the idea with HMS Plus is transparency in underwriting. And so you get comfortable with this, you get to know this. It's going to make it easier for you, and it's going to make it easier for new agents that maybe you're recruiting, bringing on, it just makes the whole process easier. You know, there's enough worries with getting licensed as an agent. There's enough concerns and anxiety with learning the different carriers, filling out all these contracts, to worry about amendments on a specific health issue where you're having to get a questionnaire or you answered a health question no, even though they were looking for forever. Guys, this has just made this easier for you. Out in the field, when you're training, when you're doing this yourself, this product is as easy it gets to work with, and it pays you very well. The HMS 125 cashback option is probably going to be the flagship of this, and the 100 cashback option, and then the other options as well. But you know, one of the things that you're going to be rewarded with, and one of the things that honestly Americo is known for, if you've been in the market and you've known anyone who's ever been on an Americo trip, they'll tell you that we have the best trips in the industry. Americo 5-star, I mean 5-star plus all the way. Like, so we just went to London last September. When we showed up under our pillow, well, it was on top of the pillow. We didn't want anyone to lose it, but there was a whole wad of cash over there. It was British pounds, of course. It was more than enough money for spending cash, for some souvenirs, for the meals that you needed to do on your own, even though we took care of most of those. It was mostly if you wandered off, if you had to pay for anything. And then we spent some time at King Henry VIII's castle. You know, we had our awards banquet at the Natural History Museum where they filmed the Night at the Museum with, you know, all of those characters. It's fantastic, guys. It was second to none. We felt like royalty. And it's going to be just the same in Maui. It's going to be a little bit more laid-back trip, but we're going to be living like rock stars on the beach. From what I've heard, I haven't been there, but you know, the Four Seasons Resort there in Maui is apparently just absolutely paradise. Be pampered for the entire time we're there. We give you gifts every day. I mean, guys, it's really second to none. The qualification period you have now until December 31st, there's a lot of time still to qualify. You guys write good premium. And so it's easy to get there. For the most part, it's 100% of paid first-year annualized premium. When you get into some of the ULs, we pay, you know, it's basically up to target. But I know with most of what you sell, like with our IUL, most of the time you're selling our minimum premium, which is the target, which is the no-lapse guarantee premium. All of that's 100% towards this trip. We would love to see you there. It's 115,000 Summit credits. And, you know, guys, in our partnership, as we're growing this thing, the more people that we get there, the stronger relationship will be. I love getting to know agents. I love seeing you at meetings. There's nothing I love more than spending time with you on the beach and getting to know you out there, having some fun. So please do everything you can to make that trip and make Americo part of your day-to-day sales process. And if you ever need anything, our sales support department is second to none. But again, my name is Chris Neeck, and I'm here to help you. So if there's any questions or anything else I can add, please let me know. Back to you, Philip.
Hey, Chris, this is Scott. We thank you again for your time tonight. And, you know, we've got some guys, if they just keep their head down like they're doing now, just at 2 policies a week, 8 policies a month, they're going to be joining you there in Maui. So I know they're excited about that and looking forward to it. But if you got a minute, I'm going to ask you some pretty straightforward questions tonight. If you don't have the answer at this point, you need to research them. Our group completely understands that. But is that okay for you?
Please.
Okay. Rick Zellers asked, is there an option for something other than a 30-year CBO in California, to your knowledge?
I think California, and you know, I'd have to look at California is one of the places where we do have limitations. So we have in Texas, Florida, Illinois, California, I believe is the other one, where we do have just the 30-year. All the rest of the states are going to have the 15, 20, 25, and 30.
Okay. And then are you guys looking to do an EAP process down the road for your IUL product?
You know, we may add it to this platform. I don't think we're going to get to instant decision with that because it's a fully underwritten product.
Right.
But moving it to a digital platform, yeah, we want to have all of our products on the digital platform. We moved first on the things that we thought that we knew that we could make instant decision on, because we really feel that was leapfrogging the competition. The digital solution for entering it in would be great as well, and that's definitely day 2, and it's on the calendar. I mean, I know that they're working on it. I don't know the date. But it won't be instant decision, but we are working towards EAP on all of our products.
And to your knowledge on the EAP, as we talked about it tonight, are there any operating systems that this does not function with or doesn't or doesn't like?
You know, the thing about it being web-based, which makes it great, is it works really well with pretty much everything. Now, most computers have Google Chrome. It's kind of a cross-platform browser, so we recommend using Google Chrome because we have experience with it and we know it's on everything. You know, if you get some Android tablet and it has its own web browser from, you know, some foreign manufacturer, it's just kind of a one-off. No one else uses that browser. We have more issues with that. But on all of those tablets, for the most part, you can download Google Chrome. So it has more to do with the browser that you use than the device, because the browser is really what's going to communicate with our service. And that, again, because it's not an app, you don't have to have an iPad to download an iPad app or an Android to download that. It'll work on a Windows machine. It'll work on anything with a web browser. My recommendation, though, would be Google Chrome if you have an opportunity to use it.
All right, very good. And Chris, if you don't mind, I know we've gone through the application process tonight, the e-app process, and the ability to have someone sign this application remote is huge. In case something were to come up, you know, them being able to sign this by email, that's a big deal, a lot of progression for sure for the sales force and for you guys as a company. Can you give us some of the other highlights of this product outside of the e-app?
Well, I really think that the cashback option is probably the strongest piece. The income term is an interesting concept. It's something that almost it would require a whole nother training to really kind of deep dive into. But again, if you run into someone who's 65, just a quick 1-minute version elevator speech on it. So you come to someone who's 65, they just refinanced their home and they've got $200,000 and their mortgage payment is, you know, $1,200 a month. Well, they come to you and they say, well, I don't want $50,000, I want $200,000 because that's what my mortgage is. Well, you quote them $200,000 on a simplified issue term because they're 65, they're not in perfect health, and they go, well, I can't afford that. Well, I guess we don't have a fit here. Well, where an income term comes in is you match up their mortgage payment. So instead of having them a level term that'll, you know, basically, you know, 20 years from now, we still give them $200,000 if they die. What we do is we match up an income stream. So the $1,200 mortgage payment that will last for the rest of the 20 years. So if they die 5 years from now, we'll pay $1,200 a month for the next 15 years, which coincidentally is how many mortgage payments they have left. And we're able to do that for half the price of a level term. So it's another sales concept, and it's part of this platform. It's part of the HMS Plus series. So that's another thing that's very unique in terms of what we're doing.
Fantastic. And Chris, I know, you know, we never talk about this a whole lot, and your idea about matching up the 20-year term to pay off a 30-year mortgage 10 years early is ingenious and moves us more into a living benefit and a savings account with a death benefit tied to it. But for the fact that this is on a UL chassis, there's also the ability to do a loan against this policy, correct?
You know, I would really highly recommend against. Basically, you break the policy if you start messing with it like that, because it's all guarantee based. So it's not going to naturally accumulate cash. The cash is going to basically be there because we guarantee it to be there. It's designed to not really accumulate cash on its own. And so the loans and stuff, if a client wants that, look at our IUL, look at other products that we have. Really sell this as, you know, basically a return of premium term. It's not an ROP term because we have to call it cashback option because it is based on the UL to make it less expensive. But in essence, it's an ROP term, and it really should be thought of and sold that way, honestly.
All right. Well, thank you for clearing that up. I know we'd had some questions about that. So, Chris, we appreciate your time this evening. We appreciate you bringing this to us and breaking it down so well.
Thanks,
We're glad to be partnered with Americo. We appreciate your guys on the service side of things, and appreciate you taking the time out on the Sunday evening to do this. Guys, just go to work. You know you've got the Americo product in your arsenal when you sit down and meet with the customer. You know you've got a wonderful support team led by Chris and his team in place. You know you can call them ahead of time with the scenarios that you might need. Chris, if you don't mind, can you give us the test site? And I apologize for referring to it in such a manner, but could you give us that again so these guys can maybe tonight or first thing in the morning get on this and give it a try to work it out. Not only will it be a great learning tool for them, it'll be also a great teaching tool for them to use as well.
Oh, absolutely. So it's so you don't put any wwws or anything like that. You just put in SC Demo, stands for Sales Connection Demo, scdemo.americo.com, and then you just log in with your normal credentials after you've registered for our website, and you're able to kick the tires on this thing or train on it, like you said. It's an excellent training tool.
So guys, be sure to write that down. Familiarity in situations like this breeds success. They breed comfortableness. They breed confidence in a product like this. So make sure you write this site down, go on to it, make a time investment into your business, go on to this site and familiarize yourself with how to use this product. You become the expert so you can become the expert with your team on how to use this and how to get it done. Chris, once again, we appreciate your time this evening. We appreciate you coming on a Sunday night and talking to us here at Invita. And with that said, we will wish everyone a wonderful evening, and God bless you all. Good night.